Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tom and I make videos that help you awaken your soul and manifest your highest destiny and happiest life. In this video we're talking about 3 ways that you can raise your frequency and therefore manifest the happy, incredible, amazing, abundant, fulfilling life that you want. All of this is a consequence of you raising your frequency. Your best life naturally just starts coming to life. But before we get into these 3 powerful techniques, I want to offer you a free gift known as the Reality Shift Cheat Sheet. This is a powerful and life-changing resource guide for all light workers, star seeds, manifestors, and awakening souls. And it contains some of the most powerful secrets to shifting into your desired reality. I've had some amazing feedback on it so far from people that have used this resource guide, and you can get it for free. Just head to the link in the description below. And of course, don't forget to check out my online courses and my one-on-one coaching, also in the description. Okay, so the great thing about these 3 techniques is that they're very simple, but they're very powerful. And I haven't heard too many people talk about them recently, at least. And one of them is one I completely made up by myself, and it's had life-changing results on me. But they're all very, very simple. So let's get into them. So the first technique is something I call nighttime compliments. This is done right as you fall asleep. You can even be closing your eyes and be drifting off and do this technique. It's very simple, it's very quick. And all you do is, as you're drifting off, as you're shutting down your eyes, as you're winding down and about to fall asleep, you simply go throughout your day, and anything that you did, any conceivable thing that you did, that you're even minutely proud of yourself for doing, this positive little action, this intention, anything, you simply acknowledge it and you give yourself a compliment for doing that thing. So it could be, I'm so proud of you for eating that healthy meal. I'm so proud of you for going that extra mile in that work session, doing that extra 10 minutes and finish off that task. I'm so proud of you for smiling at that person. I'm so proud of you for waking up on time and jumping out of bed. It's these sorts of things that have happened throughout your day. It can be anything. It's going to be personal to you. But you just run your mind through it and they just pop up and you acknowledge and compliment yourself again and again and again and again. And the spirit is that you just compliment literally anything that comes to mind, no matter how small, no matter how big. And you create that emotional connection to it and you give yourself that reward for all the positive things you've done in that day. This is so powerful because as you're falling asleep, your subconscious mind is wide open. And so you really impress these positive thoughts, these positive frequencies into that deepest part of you, into those deeper subconscious layers. And this begins shifting you at a foundational core level, at the core of your self-image, of your innermost convictions, at the very essence of what your state of consciousness is at. It starts going into that part of you. And this is what creates big shifts. It's also very powerful because it's so simple and quick. You can be done in 30 seconds just going through this checklist of things. So it's very, very powerful. And it's one of those exercises that just has a compound effect over time. So you do it for a week, you don't notice too much, it's pretty positive. You do it for a month, all of a sudden you can't wait to do it before you go to sleep. And it's just become a part of your everyday life, and you really are growing to love yourself, appreciate who you are, and you're even more motivated to do more positive things the following days. And it just compounds and makes you more of a positive, empowered force in this world. And that's going to raise your frequency so high and manifest and reflect back to you your best life. All from simply acknowledging the little things that you've done starting tonight. The second key technique to raising your frequency to manifest the life you want, the things you want, is sending I love yous. This is where you're going about your everyday life, and when you're around people, when you're around situations in which people are walking about, you're surrounded by people. It requires people to an extent, this exercise. But you can also do it to yourself, as I'll explain in a second. But you simply will be walking around, or you'll be in your office at your everyday job, or you'll be in some social setting, and you simply will connect to those people and mentally in your head send them love. Just say, I love you, mentally in your head. So personally, I use this technique all the time because I live in the city. And when I go out and about just to get groceries, to go to a coffee shop to do work, I have to go out into the city and there's hundreds and hundreds of people around. And so when I'm walking about, I have so many opportunities just to simply connect with them, these random strangers on the street, and send them I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're sending that love. And the key of this exercise is that you want to create just a subtle yet potent emotional connection with them. So you're really intending to love them because you love the soul within them. You see them all as an expression of the divine. And you really are loving them because you're expanding your capacity to love. And that happens one I love you at a time. And it's particularly powerful when you encounter random people on the street that are more difficult for a part of you to love. For example, I was walking through the city the other day, and I was walking through this down these steps outside of the library, the State Library in Melbourne, and these skaters were like skating all over the pavement. It was like a public pavement. People were walking by, and they were like doing like tricks on their skateboards, and they did one right in front of me and nearly ran into me. And it's people like that if you can, forgive them, they're just having fun, it's all harmless. But in those situations, it's even more powerful when you can extend love to them, because you can love people that normally you might even be resentful towards or criticize in your head. But you have forgiveness, compassion, of course, honor your boundaries, and I've got videos on that as well. But in those simple situations, you can love even those type of people, and you really start connecting and opening your heart to the whole world. And of course, you can then direct those I love yous to yourself. So when you're going about your day, maybe you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe your inner child's flaring up, it's been triggered by someone or something, just connect with yourself, connect within, pause, and send an I love you to yourself, and radiate that love to yourself. These are very quick repetitions, but they're very powerful, and again, they have that exponential compounding effect over time that transforms you into this radiant version of yourself. This higher self-expression comes to life, and this transforms the very fabric of your reality. You'll manifest a reality that reflects this love, this positivity, more and more and more to yourself in all areas of your life, in all ways. It really is a lot with these kind of techniques, and this one is a perfect example of that. What you put out, you get back. Give and you will receive. It's that type of thing. And the third and final technique for raising your frequency to manifest your best life, your happiest life, is to fully embrace negative emotions. The thing is, negative emotions are actually a sign that you're on your highest path. They're actually a positive sign that you're doing something right. Whether that negative emotion is you being triggered by some situation in your life, or whether it simply spontaneously arises and you're overcome by a wave of a negative, non-preferred emotion. Whatever the case may be, it's a sign of your highest healing. And in a sense, it's a reward to you, because when this big wave of negative emotion comes up, it's actually an opportunity for you to liberate that frequency out of you, that density out of you permanently, cleansing it from your energy field, from your cellular DNA, the memories embedded in your emotional body. And so when you fully allow yourself, without any guilt, without any berating of yourself for feeling negative and misaligned, but rather you open yourself up, you open your heart up to yourself, and you go into this negative emotion, it will fully express itself, it'll express that energy out, and then it will leave you for good. And when it leaves you for good, that emotion, that energy leaves you, you will experience a quantum leap in your consciousness, in your frequency, and thus your external life. So how does this work? How do you do this in a practical sense? Well, it's very simple, and I'll give you a personal example to show you what I mean. So in my own life, one day I was, for numerous reasons actually, partly to do with a relationship, partly to do with my work, partly due to just me expanding into a new sense of self-expression in my life, moving into new uncharted territory. For all these manifold reasons, I've suddenly found myself feeling grief. This wave of grief came up. It was like a grief, a sadness, a loss. And I immediately celebrated that as best I could, meaning I immediately knew, okay, I must be going through a wonderful, energetic frequency upgrade because I'm doing so well in my life. So now I'm going to honor that part of me that's feeling grief. I'm going to go into that emotion and I'm going to let it have its say fully. So what I actually did was I was working at my office at the time when this wave came up, and I finished that task and I decided to go to this local park in the city. It's a beautiful park. And it was a nice sunny day, and I just found a little spot. There were people sitting all around the park, and I just kind of lay down on the grass, laid back down, and I just went into this emotion, and I just fully allowed it to have a voice, to express itself. And when you're being with an emotion, really that's an act of love. You're honoring it. You're giving it a right to be as it is. You're validating its existence. And this is what liberates it. This is what actually transforms you at a profound level. So what you do with your emotion, and in this example, what I did with this feeling of grief is that I went into it and I felt it sort of around my heart and around my solar plexus. And I could just focus my awareness into that emotion and just let it expand, and just surrender into it. You're just allowing it to come up, and you're not trying to prevent it or avoid it. You're just allowing it to have a voice, and by extension, loving it and yourself. And what happened on this day when I did this, and what I find always happens when you follow this technique, is that eventually the energy just rises and rises and rises and builds to a crescendo, and then, like the snap of fingers, it just sort of stops. It just sort of runs out. It's like a candle wax. You light the flame at the top, it burns to the ground, all of a sudden the wax is gone. It just happens. The energy potential of that emotion just burns, and you actually feel, oh, it's gone. It's left my field. It's had its say. And I've sent it back to the divine source of its origin. And when that intuitive point is reached, you just get up and you live your life, and you'll feel a cathartic release right after. Already a sign that you're at a higher frequency and that you've healed in a profound way. But then even more powerfully, what you notice in the subsequent days after doing this technique is you will spontaneously wake up at levels of vibration and frequency that are completely new to you. It's like you take a quantum leap into a new version of yourself, a new point of view and way of seeing the world, and a new state of being. And you can really start tapping into these really high states of love, peace, joy, bliss. These states spontaneously just come to life after you use this technique and you fully embrace a negative emotion and liberate it. So again, coming back to this example in my personal life, was that a few days after I used this technique and I embraced that emotion and I felt it liberate from my being, well, what happened was about 3 days after that, I woke up in an extremely ecstatic, blissful state of consciousness, a very, very high frequency. And I felt unconditional love for all of life and just an unshakable peace and joy. And it was for no reason whatsoever. It was just for being alive, just for being a spark of the source, just for being this soul, coming into my authentic nature as the soul I am, then that you are. Your authentic essence is this high vibrational being that you are. And I felt inspired actually to go back to the park. It was a different park this time, and this one had a fountain. And I was just sitting on this park bench, enjoying this state in the morning, and looking at this fountain, looking at the water cascading up and down, and looking at all the droplets spring off. And I got mesmerized into this fountain. And all of a sudden I felt my third eye just open up, and my sense of self disappeared and unified with everything. And I felt completely present and at one with all of life, like this radiant sense of connection and love. And I felt the presence of the divine source flowing through all of my cells, my entire being. And I could sense my own connection to every human being, every living creature around me in this state of almost a perfect peace and oneness with life. That's literally what can happen to you, is that you can be overpowered by these incredible states of love and connection to life, of oneness and divine unity. In these states of unity consciousness, these can blossom for you and start manifesting and reflecting into your external world too, simply by you fully embracing a negative emotion, a non-preferred emotion on the days when those surface up, and seeing that that is a really positive sign you're on your highest path. And so that's what I experienced. And I was just sitting there, just on this park bench, in this incredible state, really savoring the beauty of life and really feeling love for all of life itself. And people were just smiling at me, like randomly. Like this woman would walk past me like, I think I'll have what he's having. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's funny, like instantly people were smiling at me, reacting to me, because everyone can tap into this frequency at a subconscious level, and the frequency you're at, everyone can feel into each other's energy at a subconscious level. As you start attracting and manifesting all kind of positive responses, positive synchronicities, and your life keeps spiraling up. So that's this video done. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video, please leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to get the free reality shift cheat sheet. I think you're going to love that, especially if you're a spiritual person, a light worker, a starseed, an awakening soul. Check out my one-on-one coaching and my online courses on spirituality and manifestation, and stay tuned for more videos soon. Thank you.